Hello everyone, and welcome to the next edition of the Holland Land Office Museum's Artifact Video Series. My name is Ryan Duffy, and I'm the director of the museum. And this week we're going to talk about a former resident of Batavia who went on to bigger and better things in the big city of Buffalo, New York, and became a very wealthy individual and well known for a particular event that happened in Buffalo. This week we're going to talk about John Milburn, who came from England but settled first in Batavia, where his sister was living, and then eventually moved on to Buffalo, where he became a prominent lawyer. But he's best known as the president of the Pan-American Exposition, which occurred in Buffalo in 1901, a sort of World's Fair, and it became a worldwide event which drew millions of people to Buffalo. But it was overshadowed in September of 1901 when President McKinley was assassinated upon visiting the exposition. And it was actually in Milburn's home where the president was taken after he was shot and where he would eventually die. So John Milburn is severely connected with the exposition, but also the tragedy that struck during. So we're going to talk a little bit about his life here in Batavia, but more so in Buffalo, and his connections to some very important people, especially around the turn of the century in the United States. John G. Milburn was born on December 14, 1851, near Sunderland, England. He initially studied civil engineering in order to follow in his father's footsteps, but at the age of 18 he began to become disinterested in the profession. He received a letter from his sister who wrote to him, urging him to follow her and emigrate to the United States. His sister had settled in Batavia, of all places. Milburn arrived in the United States in 1861. And 6 years later, he finally made his way to Batavia and began to study law with the firm of Wakeman and Watson. His course to the bar was not a straightforward one, though. He was initially denied on the grounds that he was not an official citizen of the United States. This impediment was circumvented with the influences of several powerful acquaintances that Milburn had been able to cultivate. They petitioned on his behalf for an exemption based on his intention to seek citizenship. This hurdle was cleared when Milburn was admitted to the bar in 1874. The following year, he married Mary Patty Stocking, who had been a teacher at Mrs. Bryan's Seminary in Batavia. In 1876, the Milburns made their move to the big city of Buffalo. Buffalo was a rapidly developing industrial city and was the perfect location for an up-and-coming professional such as Milburn. He started off practicing law alone, but in 1879 formed the firm of Sprague, Milburn, and Sprague. After moving to Denver for a short period, he returned to Buffalo to form the new firm Rogers, Locke, and Milburn. Milburn rose to prominence in the Queen City, serving as the president of the Buffalo Club, member of the executive board of the Buffalo Public Library, and a trustee of the Erie County and City Hall. He also made powerful political allies, including President Grover Cleveland. John Milburn is perhaps best known as the president of the Pan-American Exposition, hosted in Buffalo in 1901. He served as the head of the third and final 25-member board of directors elected by the stockholders on March 7, 1899. The primary function of the board was fundraising, while maintaining committees for the various aspects of the exposition. During the months-long event, 8 million people came to Buffalo to see the wonders that the new century had to offer. The most famous attendee was President William McKinley, who arrived at the exposition on September 6th. It was there that he was shot by an assassin named Leon Czolgosz. McKinley was hosted by Milburn at his Delaware Avenue mansion, and after he was shot, the president was taken there to recover. However, President McKinley would die in the Milburn home from his wounds 8 days later. And now the building has been torn down in 1957 and is actually part of the location of where Canisius High School is today in Buffalo. John Milburn would soon after move to New York City to represent high-profile clients like Standard Oil and the New York Stock Exchange. He would die there on August 11, 1930, while he was visiting in London, and his estate was worth nearly $2 million at the time. Well, I hope you enjoyed this edition of the Artifact Video Series and learned a little bit more about John Milburn and his importance to the Buffalo area and the Pan-American Exposition of 1901. If you've enjoyed this video, please be sure to check out the rest of them on our YouTube channel, Holland Land Office Museum. And if you enjoy the other materials, give them a like and a subscribe, as it helps out the channel, but also gets you notified before everybody else once we release new content. You can be sure to check out the playlist there, Artifact Video Series, as there's nearly 90 videos now, so there's plenty of material to go through. But as always, the best way to learn more about what's here at the museum is to come and see us in person, and we'll be happy to share even more information about the artifacts we have and the stories of the people from Genesee County.